It was supposed to be a normal walk home. On the evening of November 3rd, a 59-year-old man named Darren Lucas finished his shift at a grocery store near his home. He stepped outside, headed toward an intersection he knew well, and did what he had done many times before. He walked. At the same time, just a short distance away, a woman was driving through that same area. She wasn't rushing. She wasn't fleeing from danger. She wasn't being chased. She was talking to her phone. Inside her car, an 8-year-old child sat nearby. The woman was focused on speaking, reacting, and engaging with people who were watching her live through a screen. As Darren entered the crosswalk, traffic moved as usual. Cars slowed, lights changed, everything appeared normal. Then, in a single moment, everything stopped. A loud impact echoed through the intersection. A body hit the ground. A life was changed forever. What makes this case different isn't just how quickly it happened. It's what may have been happening inside the car at that exact second.
I don't know, it was weird,
Because within days, police began hearing about a video. Not a recorded clip posted later. Not a story told after the fact. A live broadcast, a live stream that, according to investigators, captured the moment a pedestrian was struck. In that video, a woman's voice is heard. A sudden sound interrupts her. She screams. A child asks a simple question. What was that? Her answer would shock everyone who heard it. And once that video surfaced, this case went from a tragic accident to something far more serious. Because if what police say is true, Darren Lucas didn't just lose his life at a crosswalk. He lost it while someone else was lived for the world to see, and the questions that followed would change everything.
If you enjoyed this true crime story from True Crime Lab Hub, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop your comments below. And before you go, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified the moment we post new videos.
Before headlines, before charges, before online arguments. There was Darren Lucas. Darren was 59 years old. He lived in Beach Park, Illinois, a place he knew well. He worked at a nearby grocery store, a job that many people rely on but rarely think about. He showed up, did his work, and went home. That night was no different. After finishing his shift, Darren left work and began the walk back to his home. It wasn't late. It wasn't unsafe. It was a path he had likely taken many times before. For Darren, it was just another day ending the way it always did. There is no public record of Darren being reckless or careless, no reports of conflict, no sign that he was distracted. He wasn't crossing outside a marked area. He wasn't running into traffic. He was walking where he was supposed to walk. Later, his family would speak through his son-in-law, Chris King. His words were calm but heavy. The family and myself are glad to see the wheels of justice moving, King said after an arrest was finally made. That short statement said a lot. It spoke to grief that hadn't faded, to questions that lingered for weeks, and to a family trying to make sense of a loss that never should have happened. Darren wasn't a public figure. He wasn't chasing attention. He didn't have thousands of followers watching his every move. He was just a man going home after work. And that is what makes this case so difficult for many people to accept. Because Darren Lucas did everything right, and still, he never made it home. November 3rd did not begin with warning signs. There were no storms, no emergency alerts, no sense that something terrible was about to happen. It was a regular evening in Zion, Illinois. Darren Lucas clocked out from work and began his walk. As he approached the intersection of Sheridan Road and 33rd Street, traffic moved normally. Cars passed through. Pedestrians waited their turn. When Darren stepped into the crosswalk, he had the right of way. At the same time, a vehicle approached the intersection from the opposite direction. Behind the wheel was Tynesha McCarty-Wroten. According to police, the light facing her direction was red. Darren continued forward. What happened next took only seconds. The vehicle entered the intersection and struck Darren as he crossed the street. The impact was forceful enough to leave him unconscious in the roadway. Emergency responders arrived quickly. Darren was rushed to a hospital where doctors tried to save his life. They couldn't. He was pronounced dead from blunt force injuries. At the scene, the driver remained and spoke with officers. She told them she believed she had a green light and only noticed Darren too late. As part of standard procedure in fatal crashes, she provided a statement and submitted to blood and urine testing. At that moment, no charges were filed. To many people, it appeared to be a tragic accident. But that would soon change. The woman behind the wheel was 43-year-old Tynesha McCarty-Wroten. To many online, she was known by a different name, Tyme. McCarty-Wroten was active on social media, especially on TikTok, where she hosted live streams and spoke directly to viewers. Her content was casual and personal, built around conversation and connection. Live streaming was not something she did once in a while. It was part of her routine. On the night of November 3rd, she was driving through Zion while interacting with people watching her live. Inside the car with her was an 8-year-old child. Police would later say that McCarty-Wroten was traveling close to the speed limit as she approached the intersection. There was no clear sign of braking before the crash. After Darren was struck, McCarty-Wroten stayed at the scene and spoke with investigators. At that point, she was not arrested, but in the days that followed, officers began receiving new information that would place her actions under much closer examination. Residents contacted police about a video circulating online, a recording that appeared to show a live stream happening at the exact time Darren Lucas was hit. At first, McCarty-Wroten declined to allow investigators to search her phone. Later, through her attorney, she turned it over. What they found would become central to the case. The recording that caught police attention was not polished. It wasn't edited. It wasn't posted as a highlight. It was raw. In the video, a woman is seen speaking toward her phone while driving. Her tone is casual, engaged, focused on her audience. Then suddenly, everything changes. A loud sound interrupts her mid-sentence. She screams. Almost immediately, a child's voice is heard from inside the car. "What was that?" The woman responds with words that would later be replayed again and again. "I hit somebody." The live stream ends seconds later. Police would later confirm that the video was recorded on November 3rd, at the same time and location where Darren Lucas was struck. This discovery reshaped the case. What initially appeared to be a tragic mistake now raised deeper questions about attention, responsibility, and choice. Darren Lucas had entered a crosswalk expecting drivers to see him. Instead, investigators believed the person behind the wheel was focused on a screen. And in that brief moment of distraction, a life was lost. After the impact, the intersection changed from a normal crossing point into an emergency scene. Darren Lucas lay unconscious on the road. Paramedics arrived and worked quickly. He was taken to a nearby hospital where doctors tried to save him. Despite their efforts, Darren was pronounced dead from blunt force injuries. At the scene, the driver remained. Tynesha McCarty-Wroten spoke with officers and gave her version of events. She told police that she believed she had a green light and that she noticed Darren crossing too late to avoid hitting him. As is standard in fatal crashes, she provided a statement and submitted to blood and urine testing. Police did not say that impairment was suspected at that time. No arrest was made that night. To the public, it appeared that the case might be treated as a tragic accident. One person crossing. One driver claimed confusion, a moment that could not be taken back. But investigators did not close the case. They continued reviewing what happened, including traffic signals, vehicle movement, and the sequence of events leading up to the crash. And within days, something unexpected shifted the entire direction of the investigation. In the days following Darren Lucas's death, police began receiving calls from residents. They weren't reporting new witnesses at the intersection. They were reporting a video. Several people told investigators that a clip was circulating online. According to them, it showed a woman live streaming while driving at the exact time a pedestrian was hit. Police began looking into the claim. The video in question appeared to be a screen recording of a TikTok live stream hosted by an account known as Tyme 3. In the recording, the woman is seen speaking toward her phone as she drives. Her attention appears focused on the conversation she is having with viewers. Then, without warning, a loud sound is heard. Her reaction is immediate. She screams. Panic fills her voice. A child inside the car asks, "What was that?" The woman responds, "I hit somebody." The live stream ends shortly after. This video raised serious questions. If it was authentic, it suggested that the driver's attention was on her phone at the exact moment Darren Lucas was struck. Police moved to confirm whether the recording was real and when it was made. At first, McCarty-Wroten declined to allow detectives to search her phone. This was within her legal rights. However, investigators continued their work. They obtained legal authorization to recover the video through other means. Later, McCarty-Wroten surrendered her phone through her attorney. A forensic review confirmed that the live stream video was recorded on November 3rd at the same time and location as the crash that killed Darren Lucas. At that point, the case was no longer viewed as a simple traffic accident. It became a criminal investigation. With the video confirmed, police took the next step. Investigators reviewed traffic signal data and nearby recordings that showed the flow of vehicles at the intersection. According to police, this evidence showed that Darren Lucas had the right-of-way and that the driver entered the intersection against a red light. Armed with this information, authorities sought criminal charges. An arrest warrant was approved. Within an hour of the warrant being signed, officers arrested Tynesha McCarty-Wroten as she was leaving her home. Police noted that she had several packed bags with her at the time. She was taken into custody without incident. McCarty-Wroten was charged with 2 felony counts: reckless homicide, aggravated use of an electronic communication device resulting in death. These charges reflected the belief that her phone use while driving directly contributed to Darren Lucas's death. She later appeared in court and was released while awaiting trial. Court records show that she is scheduled to return on January 27th. For Darren's family, the arrest brought a sense of movement after weeks of waiting. For the public, it raised new questions about responsibility, distraction, and how far the law should go when technology is involved in fatal crashes. Soon after the arrest, McCarty-Wroten's attorney, Jed Stone, spoke publicly about the case. He argued that the charges were too severe. Stone stated that the evidence was hardly compelling and pointed to a police report that included an eyewitness account, which he said contradicted the claim that McCarty-Wroten ran a red light. According to the defense, this difference matters. Stone acknowledged that using a phone while driving can be negligent. He did not dispute that point. However, he argued that negligence does not automatically rise to the level of recklessness under the law. In his view, prosecutors were overreaching by charging reckless homicide. This argument is expected to play a central role as the case moves forward. The court will have to decide whether the actions described meet the legal standard required for the felony charges. As the case heads toward trial, 2 sides are now clearly defined. Prosecutors argue that a driver chose to focus on a phone instead of the road, ran a red light, and caused a man's death. The defense argues that the crash was the result of negligence, not recklessness, and that the evidence does not support the charges filed. But beyond legal language, one fact remains unchanged. Darren Lucas is gone. No argument will bring him back. No ruling will restore what his family lost. This case now sits at the center of a growing debate, one that many people watching may recognize in their own lives. How much attention is too much to give a screen while driving? And when distraction ends a life, where should the line be drawn? Those questions will not be answered overnight. But for Darren Lucas and those who loved him, the cost has already been paid. As details of the case became public, reactions spread quickly. Many people focused on one detail above all others, the claim that the driver was live streaming at the moment Darren Lucas was hit. For some, this detail changed how they viewed the entire incident. What once seemed like a tragic mistake now felt preventable. People also reacted strongly to the fact that a child was inside the car. Questions flooded social media. How could someone focus on a phone while driving through an intersection? Why take that risk with a child present? And how often do people convince themselves they can manage both? Days after Darren's death, public anger grew stronger. Tynesha McCarty-Wroten appeared on another live stream. During that broadcast, she asked viewers to send donations through Cash App. She said the money would help her take time off because she was dealing with many personal issues. For many watching, this felt deeply upsetting. The timing struck a nerve. A man had died. His family was grieving, and yet the driver involved appeared online asking for financial support. Comments poured in. Some expressed disbelief, others expressed anger. Many felt the focus should have been on Darren Lucas and his family, not on the driver's personal struggles. Soon after, the TikTok account connected to Tyme was made private. Information linking the account to Zion was removed. But the reaction did not fade. The case had now moved beyond police reports and court filings. It has entered public conversation, where emotion often moves faster than facts. While public debate continued, Darren Lucas's family lived with a reality that could not be argued away. Darren was not coming home. His family spoke through his son-in-law, Chris King, after McCarty-Wroten's arrest. His words reflected relief, but also pain. They were grateful that the case was moving forward, grateful that Darren's death was being taken seriously. But relief does not erase loss. Darren was a working man, a man with a routine, a man who trusted that when he stepped into a crosswalk, drivers would stop. That trust was broken. For families who lose someone this way, the hardest part is often how sudden it is. One moment, everything is normal. Next, life is split into before and after. Court dates may come and go. Arguments will be made, decisions will be handed down. But for Darren's family, time will always be marked by that evening in November. This case matters because it did not require anger or intent. It required only distraction. Phone use while driving has become common. Many people believe they can manage it. A glance at the screen, a quick reply, a short interaction. But driving demands full attention. Live streaming demands even more. It pulls focus for longer stretches. It invites a response. It keeps the mind engaged somewhere other than the road. In this case, police believe that divided attention played a key role. There is also the presence of a child in the car. Children depend entirely on the choices adults make behind the wheel. Every decision carries extra weight when someone young is trusting you with their safety. This story is not just about one crash. It reflects how everyday habits, when mixed with technology, can lead to outcomes no one intends, but cannot undo. Many people watching this story may recognize themselves in it, not because they would want harm, but because they have checked a phone while driving. This case forces a hard pause, not to accuse, but to reflect. Darren Lucas walked into a crosswalk believing he would be seen. He trusted the light. He trusted drivers. He trusted that he would make it home. Instead, his life ended on a road he knew well. This case asks a simple but uncomfortable question. How much attention is too much to give a screen while driving? Many people tell themselves, just this once. Many believe they are in control. Many believe nothing bad will happen. Until it does. If this story made you stop and think, share it. Not for attention, but for awareness. One pause behind the wheel can save a life. What do you think should happen when phone use leads to death? Share your thoughts in the comments. Darren Lucas did not wake up on November 3rd, knowing it would be his last day. He went to work. He walked home. He trusted the world around him. That trust was broken. The legal process will continue, and the final outcome has yet to be decided. But one truth remains clear. A man lost his life because attention was somewhere else, and that is a lesson no family should ever have to learn the hard way.